Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Greg Marshall, and I am going to present to you how to turn social media engagement and followers into sales. Now, this is a common question that I get all the time, particularly when it comes to what is the ROI of social media and how do you actually make money from it? Because it's great to have followers, it's great to have people liking, commenting, and sharing your posts. But at the end of the day, most of you are interested in making money. And so what I'm going to do in this course is teach you exactly what you need to do in order to monetize your social media engagement and your followers. Okay? So number one, we're going to start with the end in mind. So you have to decide who your target market is. The big mistake you will make on social media is if you go into trying to market your products and services without actually knowing and taking the time to know and decide who your target market is. So what does that mean? You want to know demographics of how old the people in your target market are going to be, what their interests are, what do they read, where do they work, how many kids do they have? You want to know everything about your customers so that when you create your social media accounts, you have hyper focus and hyper targeting with your messaging. Messaging is extremely underrated when it comes to doing your marketing, particularly on social media. People get too caught up in just tactics and using strategies on how to do an ad or how to post something, as opposed to taking the time to first know who your target market is and what you're trying to convey to them. Okay, so start there first. Then next, what you want to do is you want to know what you want to sell. Okay, so start with the end in mind with knowing what you want to sell. Do you want to sell e-commerce? Do you want to sell coaching services? Do you want to sell downloadable products? Do you want to sell events? All of that matters when it comes to what you're going to end up selling and how you're going to do your social media. Because if you don't know what you're intending to sell, then your messaging will be a little bit scattered and you won't be as effective as you possibly can when you're developing your audience. So know what you want to sell, because if you know what you want to sell and you know who your target market is, your likelihood of having success and making money with social media skyrockets. If you don't know what you want to sell and you have no clue who your target market is, your success rate will be extremely low and you'll end up blaming social media for not working. Okay, next, have a sales process ready to go or test. Now, the reason why this is in the first slide is because you want to actually have a good, clear idea of at least how you intend, if you don't already have it in place, the sales process that you will use in order to sign people up. So an example would be, instead of just blasting things out there and then someone reaches out to you and you have no idea what to say, and I've made this mistake before, so I'm sharing this with you from experience. You want to know, okay, if someone reaches out and sends you a message or comments on your post, you want to know exactly what your next step is in order to convert them. Okay? My favorite way to do this is to document exactly what it is that I'm trying to do. Okay? So write it down in steps, have a document so that you can actually manage this process and know exactly what it takes in order to close the sale. The reason why this is important is, number one, it gives you structure, because the more often you repeat the process, the better you will become. And once you do that, if for some reason you're not selling people or converting your engagement or your followers, you have something to work off of, so you know if that, what's the big problem, or what step are you either going too fast by or not spending enough time on in order to get them to convert and buy. It's a great way to measure and understand what's working and what's not. Because once you have this sales process in place, you will feel so much more confident and more clear on what you're trying to accomplish and do, that you'll become more motivated and you'll end up doing more social media because you know that you're going to get a return on your energy and your investment. So have a sales process ready to go or test. Okay, next, how to know who your target market is. I've always said great marketing starts with research. Okay? And research is all about looking in every possible avenue that you can to know exactly who it is you're trying to reach. Okay? There's so many tools out there that you can figure out where your people are hanging out at, what are they reading, what do they like. And a great way to start the research process is to actually go ahead and look at other people's platforms who have your potential customers and start seeing what types of posts are resonating with them, what type of products are these people selling, how much are they charging for their products, and then work from there. And then once you decide, okay, maybe it's 25 to 54-year-old women who have 2 kids. Once you decide and know that, then start looking for people in your life or people online who fit that and ask them questions. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, I'm trying to start a business, or I'm currently in a business and I'm trying to learn more about your type of individual or demographic and what you like to read, what you like to do, what are your interests, and things like that. If you already have a social media following, a great way to figure out is to just ask your followers what they like and just be transparent with them. Let them know that you're trying to offer better services and you're trying to be more effective in your business, and ask them, what their interests are, demographics, things of that nature. Okay? Next is, what are the demographics of your target customers? So that is all about having a finely tuned age, interests, and activities that they like to do. Now, you'll want to avoid the mistake of saying everybody is my customer. If you go into it thinking everybody is my customer, you're going to struggle with monetizing your social media, because if you're trying to sell everyone, you'll end up selling no one. And the reason why that is because your marketing messages won't resonate with a particular group of people. And so let's look at it like this. What do you think is going to resonate more with a particular group? Hey everyone, I do X, Y, and Z. If you're interested, let me know. Okay, that's example number 1. Example number 2 is, hey moms, are you struggling with losing weight after having 1 or 2 kids and you would like to learn more about how to get in better shape? Click here below. Obviously, option 2 is going to be more effective because you're being very clear and more targeted on how you're communicating. So make sure you know the demographics of your customer and then focus on that demographic so that you can have hyper effective messaging, that when the person reads it, your target market reads it, they go, this is for me. Okay, and so that's how you want to look at your demographics. That's how you use demographics to your advantage. Okay, next, decide who or what other companies are currently selling to your customers. Okay, now a great way or a great strategy to monetize quickly is if you already have a product and you're able to figure out who these companies or individuals are already, you can just offer a joint revenue deal where you go, hey, will you send an email? Will you post? Will you share on your pages to your current customers? Or maybe offer an upsell and we can split a percentage of sales together. That's the fastest way to basically have no social media following and still make money. But what you also want to do is figure out who they are so that you can study their audience and understand how they're communicating, why they're being effective, or what you can do to be better than them so you can add more value and end up getting customers. Okay, so decide who and what other companies are currently selling to your customers. Learn from them, reach out to them, develop a relationship, and creatively figure out how you can monetize that particular relationship. Okay, now we're going to deciding what you want to sell. You want to know, are you going to be a product or a service? Now there's pros and cons to both, so you want to think this through. If you're trying to grow a really big business and you really don't want to have too much involvement in it, you're going to want to focus more on building a product, because it's easier to scale a product because once people buy it, you either ship it to them or they download it, and you can, in a perfect world, essentially have unlimited customers, and it doesn't necessarily impact how much time you need to spend in order to deliver the product. You can build out a team, and that's a much easier way to scale and build a product-based business. Now, a service-based business is great because you can start monetizing it right away. But one of the issues that you'll have with trying to scale a service business is you'll have to bring on other people and you'll have to manage other people. And it's a lot more difficult to scale that because you have that human element of it's not just a product. A service is offered in so many different ways that it's just, you're not able to scale as big as you want, as quickly as you want without a lot of management. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible to scale. There's tons of businesses out there that are service-based that do scale. It's just, I find and notice that it's a little bit more difficult to scale when you're doing a service. So figure that out, because if you're going into online marketing or online business because you basically want to sit on a beach and make money, then I would try to focus on developing products so that you can figure out your marketing system and then do that. Because a service-based business will be very difficult and challenging to do that. So think through what you want to do, product or service, so make sure you have the end goal in mind. Okay? Next is, what will be your pricing model? Now, you want to think through what you're going to charge. Okay? And the reason why you want to think this through is because if you have a target income that you're trying to make, that will impact what you charge, so you know how many of those either products or services you have to sell in order to reach that target. Now, if you do the cheap pricing model, obviously your margins are going to be much smaller. You may be able to get more volume, but it can be challenging because you're kind of playing in that lower tier market where there's a lot of competition in offering cheap products or services. So really think through about your pricing model and think, how does the pricing model match with how you're trying to position your company and or yourself? Because if you try to position yourself as a high-end, product, but you're charging, $2 or $5, there's going to be a little bit of a message mismatch there. You want to give off the right message to your target customers. So think through what your pricing model is going to be. Have different pricing models as well, so people can buy entry-level, mid-level, and high-tier products or services, so you can maximize your lifetime value of a customer in that way. So think through and document what your pricing model will be. Okay, next, what solutions, challenges, conveniences will your products or service offer or help? Okay, now, you want to think, not everything has to fix a problem, okay? You could also sell conveniences. But you want to think, at the end of the day, what is your product going to do for your consumer? Whoever is consuming the product or service, what will they get in return? So if they're going to give you money, they're essentially paying you money for an end result. What result is that going to be? You want to know exactly what that is so that you, as the business owner or the marketer, is very clear on how to communicate that to your audience. You should be able to say in a sentence what your product or service does or solves or what conveniences it offers. One sentence. If not, keep working on it until you can, because you want the offering to be very clear, because as you start to brand, you want people to associate your product or your service with a certain end result. Okay? So think that through. Document what solutions, challenges, or conveniences your product or service will help or offer. All right. Now let's get to how to design your sales process. All right. So number one, get in the habit of testing your offers with potential customers. So when you start, testing is huge. I'm a big fan of testing because you never know what will work until you try it. Now, the biggest challenge you will run into when you're trying to test is you're going to be concerned and worried about failing or looking dumb or it not working or any of those other psychological issues that you run into whenever you're testing things out. So my challenge to you is to make sure you don't let that hold you back. Make sure that you are able to test different things so you can see what works and what doesn't. And of course, make sure you document it. Okay? Which goes into my next point. Document every test you do to figure out what works for you and your business. Okay? Just because a process works for one business doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for yours. And so this is where you want to test it. The other thing I want to mention is test things even when people say they don't work. And the reason why is because there's no absolutes when it comes to what process will work or how to work. The only absolute is what will work for you. And so sometimes, and I've run into this before, people will say, this doesn't work or that doesn't work. And then I test it and it works beautifully for me. So make sure you're documenting every test. You're writing down the results that you're getting from each test so that you can figure out what works for you and your business so you can increase the likelihood of your success. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Document, document, document. Okay, next, you want to fine-tune your process where you can either automate or at least repeat. So when you talk about automation or repeating a process, what you want to do is figure out what works by doing your tests and documenting them. And then once you do figure out what works, you want to make sure that it's repeatable over and over again. So keep using that process. Once you get to a point where it seems like it's working in that sequence every single time, then that's when you're going to want to bring in automation software or a sales rep or some type of other help where you can offload that process and figure out how you will be able to repeat the process and scale. If that's one of your goals, which is to scale your business, particularly using online, then that's what you want to do. Don't start with trying to automate everything because you don't know what works yet. So I'm a big fan of doing everything manually in the beginning and then figure out what works so you can repeat it. All right. So now let's get to how to grow your followers. So if you're starting from zero, I recommend you use paid social media strategies to build your following up. It's not the only way to do it, but I recommend that because it's the number one way you can control how to grow your followers and how to make sure that you're building a targeted following. Okay? The key word is targeted because you want a very specific type of individual following your page. You don't want just anyone following your pages. And that's where the homework from earlier today makes the difference. So make sure you're using paid social media strategies to build up your following. It's not as expensive as you think as long as you know what you're doing and you're testing different offers. So make sure to use social media page strategies to build your following up, okay? The other way you can do it is joint marketing with other people or businesses who have your audience. Now, this is a way where you could actually be featured on someone else's page, and you essentially ask them, hey, I'm starting out a community and I'm trying to build a following, and I noticed that your followers may also be interested in what I have to talk about. Would you be willing to either interview me, share a piece of content that I wrote, maybe do a joint video together, whatever. But that's a great way to enter other people's audiences so that you can expand your network. Even if you start growing your social media following, it's still good to also do this on top of it so you can speed up your growth. So joint marketing with other people or businesses that have your audience. Next, follow and reach out to people in your target audience. So the difference in what I'm saying is you're going to want to follow and reach out to people who are potential prospects and just start conversations with them. Leave comments on their posts. Follow their pages and basically engage with them. Engage first and you'll get engagement back. This is a tactic that really works if you're willing to do the work. Most people are not willing to do the work on this technique, and so they've missed out on golden opportunities. But I can assure you that by following and reaching out to people in your target audience, not only will you get customers, but you'll get in conversations where they either can become customers or offer valuable research advice to help you grow your business. So follow and reach out to people in your target audience. Okay, so next section is what type of content should you put out? Now, this is a question a lot of people have when it comes to, okay, this is great. I know I need to use social media. I know I need to engage, but what do I actually put out there? So, first one is educate your audience. No matter what you're doing, if you're following what we said earlier and saying, what does your product or service, what solutions or problems does it solve, or what conveniences does it add? Well, your job is to break down each section of what that is and start educating your audience. So make sure you start making content that educates them so that they start to know that they need or want your product or service, and it also shows you as the expert in your field. All right? Next, connect with your audience. Do things that cause your audience to comment or interact with you, meaning comment below. Share this if you think this is great. Send me a personal message or our company a personal message and let us know what we can do better. What is your favorite XYZ? But connecting with your audience is a great way to build the loyal following that you want, because that will ultimately drive up lifetime value of your customers, and they're less likely to want to move away to someone else if they feel connected to you and your company. So do posts that cause them to interact. Trust me, it works really, really well. Do not overlook that, because even just having posts of, where do you live? What, when's your birthday? What's your favorite TV show? Even posts like that are very valuable because it's great for research, and it's a great way to open up the lines of communication. So connect with your audience. Next, use the mediums that best suit you. So people say, should I use video? Should I write? Should I do audio? Should I do this? Should I do that? Choose the medium that you feel you are the most successful at, meaning if you like the camera, do videos. If you like to write, write. If you like just audio, do audio. If you're talented enough to do all of them, then do all of them, because people learn in different ways. But choose at least one medium where you know you're very good at and focus on that first so that you can build out content that will help engage your audience, connect with them, and ultimately increase your sales. So use the medium that best fits you. So next, we are going to go into how to track and measure your success. Okay? First, I like to measure by how many direct messages are you receiving on a day-to-day basis. All right, so essentially, how many people are reaching out to you for advice, solutions, communication, because that is a great indicator that you have something people want and that they want to connect with you. If you're not getting direct messages on a day-to-day basis, make sure to keep fine-tuning your messaging and your target audience. Okay? But you want to make sure people feel like they can actually reach out to you and send you a direct message. So make sure that you're tracking how many direct messages you're getting, and then to the next section, how many comments, likes, and shares you're getting on your posts. Those are great indicators on how well you're resonating with your target audience. It also will tell you what you should create more of. What are they wanting more of? So if you notice, you put up pictures, no one's interacting with them, but when you do videos, you get tons of interaction. If you're doing your homework and doing the testing like we talked about earlier, you'll quickly figure out a theme for your page, which is, so video does really well. Let me do it again and see if it works just as well again. And if you start to see a trend or a pattern on what's getting the most likes, comments, and shares, then keep posting more of those and fine-tune that type of content. Trust me, it works. And the last thing I like to use to track and measure success is how fast is your following growing? Are your followers tagging other friends? Are they leaving comments? Are new people coming in to your page on a daily basis? Even if it's just a few new followers. But if you're not seeing any growth, it's back to what type of content is your target audience where it needs to be. But focus on how fast your following is growing. That's usually a good indicator of you're having success in your social media efforts. If not, keep fine-tuning and keep working on it and track. Okay, so next, how do you make money from engagement? Okay, well, engagement, likes, comments, and shares, although they seem like more vanity metrics, it's up to us as a business owner or marketer to dig deep and convert those people who are having the conversations. It's our job. It's not Facebook's, it's not Instagram's, it's not email, it's not YouTube, it's not their job. It's our job to figure out how do we get people who are liking, commenting, and sharing to make money and turn them into customers, okay? So, have consistent conversations with the people who are engaging with your content. Essentially what that means is make sure you're talking to them on a day-to-day basis, sending them messages, asking their opinions, and building a relationship. It sounds funny, but relationship building works. And it's no different online than it is in person. So make sure that you're having consistent conversations with the people who are engaging with your content. Next, get them in direct private message and or phone call. The more you can move the relationship from just liking a post to messaging and then getting them on the phone and then eventually even video conferencing or meeting them in person, the more success and money you will make from your engagement. You have to look at it as a process. The gateway is your content, and you're trying to move them up to eventually being able to talk to you and feel and connect with you as a friend and as a leader. And the way to do that is content, move them into conversations, move them into video calls and or in-person meetings. Okay, that's how you make money from engagement. It's not just posting stuff and passively hoping that they go and buy your stuff. You have to be active. You have to, it's just like in real life before the internet and before we had social media. If you wanted to sell stuff, you had to either knock on a door or go to the mall. You had to go places. You had to make phone calls. Same game, just different tools. All right? And make sure you have your pricing, offers, and deal flow ready. So when you are having these conversations, you're asking, your customers and your followers, what they need help in, and then you have things to offer them so that they actually can buy. You want to be ready to go. So if you can solve a problem, they keep reaching out to you. You want to have a product or service you can offer them so that they can sign up and get better at whatever it is that you're doing. So make sure that you're prepared and ready and you've thought this through. But if you followed the steps from earlier in this presentation, you will have this ready to go. So make sure your offers, pricing are ready. Okay? Next, what is the ROI in social media? Great question, which is, it purely depends on how good of a salesperson or team that you are. Now, ROI, it's you want to look at it like this. Social media is the same as making phone calls or talking to people on the street or talking to customers that come into your store. There's some people who are really good at being able to show the value in what they have to offer and then signing them up. There's other people who are not that good. So you don't want to blame social media or anything for why something's not working. You have to focus on getting better as a salesperson or as a team. And the way to do that is to document your processes and make sure you're practicing and fine-tuning every step of the marketing and sales process. Every single step, and you want to be fine-tuning it every single day. You got to get your reps in, okay? Next, there are companies out there that do 6 figures and more per month using social media. I have consulted with some of these people, and I've seen their back-end numbers, and they're pretty big. So the ROI in social media is big if, a gigantic if, you know what you're doing and you're willing to invest time, energy, and money into it. Just like you would if you're trying to do a billboard or a newspaper ad or get on TV or open a storefront. You have to be willing to invest time, energy, and money. But I will tell you, there is money in it directly. Okay? So next, commitment to analysis and tracking will make the difference in your ROI. So if you're just kind of winging things and not looking at what you're doing and fine-tuning your strategy and fine-tuning your offerings, then your ROI won't be as good as the company or the individual who is committed to analyzing and tracking what they're doing on social media. So if you notice the theme on everything I just said, the ROI is based on the owner or the marketer or the salesperson. That's what the ROI is based on. It is not based off of the platform. We cannot ever blame any platforms for not succeeding for us. We are in charge of our own destiny. So the second you take personal responsibility for your success, the better your marketing and your sales will end up. Okay? So what is the fastest way to monetize social media? There's a bunch of different ways, but one, spend more time practicing and fine-tuning your sales presentation, because I'll put it to you like this. If you had 10 people reach out to you and you close 0 out of 10, you don't need another 10 people to come in. This is like something that a lot of business owners and marketers do, which is they look at, it didn't work for these 10 people, so I just need more people to see my stuff. It's most likely not that, because your closing and your sales process is probably ineffective. Therefore, you're not able to monetize your results, because it's possible if you had 10 people and close 0, and then we got you 5 people the next time, you close out 5, well, the problem was you didn't need more people. The problem was you had a conversion issue. So spend more time practicing and fine-tuning your sales presentation so you're able to increase your sales, so then you can scale up. Okay, next, role play with your coworkers and friends. So you want to really fine-tune on what to say, how you're saying it, and get feedback from them, particularly if your coworkers or friends meet the demographic you're trying to sell, and get feedback and ask them, would this sell you? What would you change? And then start testing it. And if you're doing your homework like you were earlier, you'll have everything documented and you'll start running more and more tests. Okay? and remarket to the people who already know, like, and trust you. So focus on the people who already know, like, and trust you, and make them more offers, and fine-tune your sales process with them first as a small test group so you can see what needs to change, what needs to get better, and then improve upon your process after that. All right? So if you need help, if you need more help with your marketing, reach out to me on social media, on Facebook. Just type in Greg Marshall, or you can even type in my personal profile, which is Gregory Marshall. Or you can go on Instagram, send me a direct message at MotivationGM. You can email me at gregmarshall17@gmail.com, or you can visit my website at gregmarshall.co. Not com, but .co, C-O. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this presentation. Take everything that I shared with you in this course. Make sure to utilize it. Practice, practice, practice. Get your reps in. And of course, if you ever need more help, just reach out. Hope you enjoyed this and you have a good one.